Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to the next block, which this time focuses on the musculoskeletal system. In this short presentation, I'll run you through an introduction to this block, then we'll have a look at the tutorial outline, which as usual includes a recap of the last block, a quick look at the small group discussion tasks, and encouraging you to have a think about a debrief for the previous block as well. This is a 4-week mission to examine what happens to the musculoskeletal system in the space environment. It's our 5th physiology-based block, and it's beginning at the end of July and concluding in late August. There's only one spacewalk, and as usual you'll be able to work through the materials at your own pace. Our Meet an Expert session for this block will be on Monday the 14th of August, and we're very lucky to have aerospace medicine expert Dr. Jeff Davis, who's written one of the textbooks on your reading list, joining us. And this is the brief video overview, but if you want to watch it again at any stage, you can do this via the link on the Canvas page. During this block, we'll be having our second and final Build to Launch collaborative tutorial. This will also involve design tasks, so please have a think about those in advance and ideally bring along some design ideas to share with your fellow students. As usual, there is more information available via the Build to Launch tiles. There's some additional preparation required for the mission briefing debrief. There will be a recap of the Metabolism and Immunity Block Spacewalk, and the names of the students who've been allocated to that appear on Canvas, so please be ready to share your thoughts about that. And finally, just a reminder about assessment tasks, that we do have 2 more assessment tasks which are due during semester 2. The final written report, which is due towards the end of September, and the portfolio reflective piece presentation, which is due to be submitted just after the start of October. To support these 2 tasks, you should aim to complete 2 short reflections for your e-portfolio. The first to support your written report, and also a spin-off reflection to support your final e-portfolio reflective piece presentation. And just a reminder that there are a number of spin-off resources available via the spin-off tile on the Mission 6 homepage. The layout of the homepage is pretty standard, and the to-do list has the key tasks that you should complete and also the key dates for the block. This time we have a very exciting inspiration tab, and there are some beautiful posters from NASA related to taking a tour of the solar system and beyond. So please be sure to have a look at those, and if you want to download any of those, they are freely available from NASA. The extension tabs are the same material that you've seen previously, but just to remind you that we do have a wide range of additional resources available for you. The layout of the spacewalk is once again standard. The learning outcomes reflect the content of this block, including how the musculoskeletal system responds to microgravity, how normal homeostasis is disrupted, countermeasures that are available and why they're important, back pain and spaceflight, musculoskeletal injuries, the increased risk of renal stones in space, and finally the translational research potential of this area of space health. The Explore topics are divided up into 6 broad areas, which are the musculoskeletal system in microgravity, bone loss in microgravity, muscle loss in microgravity, back pain in space and terrestrial bed rest studies, musculoskeletal injuries and rehabilitation, and renal stones. And as usual, we have our concertinas that you can work through, and there are some embedded questions along the way. With the discussion points on Padlet, as usual, there are 3 topics which relate specifically to this block and 3 more general topics. I'd encourage you to have a think about all of those and share some thoughts with your fellow students. With the review questions, as I mentioned earlier, we have included some quiz questions with the Explore tab resources, so you would have already had a chance to look at those. And then there are some optional activities which you can work through if you would like, one on renal stone risk to astronauts and the other on microgravity effects on human physiology, particularly the skeletal system. And there are some further brain teaser questions provided in the PDFs. This material has been prepared by NASA, and the model answers will be made available during the Neurological Health and Wellbeing block. The extra resources are divided up into 2 sections. Firstly, the University of Melbourne book list, and secondly, additional videos and resources for you to have a look at should you wish. As mentioned earlier, we'll be having our LEGO Collaborative tutorial number 2, and the page that relates to that has the 3 mission activities for you to have a look at and to think about the design tasks, and ideally bring some design ideas along to the tutorial. And finally, we have our Spinoffs tile, which has the link to the Spinoffs resources for your reflection that you're doing and also your end of semester assignment. And I would just like to mention at this stage, for the very last tutorial of the year, I would like to invite a small number of you to volunteer to present your e-portfolio presentations for the rest of the class during that tutorial. And as well, we'll have a bit of a general debrief. So as you're going through and putting your presentations together, please do have a bit of a think about whether you might like to share what you found with me and with all your other students as part of the way of wrapping up the year. With our small group discussion tasks, the first one involves working out how to stabilize a broken bone in space with only limited resources available. So this should be a fun brainstorming task. There is more information available on the Canvas page, so I would advise you to have a look at that in advance of the tutorial, and so you can have a think about it to get the most out of the brainstorming and discussion. And the second discussion activity relates to one of the great challenges of long-duration spaceflight, and that is the effective distance on communications and the impact that that might have on medical care. So this is going to be another interesting brainstorming task for you. And once again, I would encourage you to have a look at the information that's there on Canvas and bring a few thoughts along to the tutorial to discuss with the rest of your group. And finally, we'll be doing a debrief for the Metabolism and Immunity block. And please have a think about what you enjoyed the most, what you didn't like so much, and what you think could be improved. And if you have any constructive suggestions, please bring those along to the tutorial. Thank you, and looking forward to seeing you all again soon.